Under President Biden's leadership, the U.S. economy is booming, and it is time for President Biden and the Democrats to go on the offensive with this message. And where do they start? Well, they need to start by reminding people that President Biden did not take over in 2020. He wasn't handed the keys to the 2019 economy. He started in January of 2021. He was handed the keys to the 2020 economy. And what was going on? Well, the world was in turmoil. Economies were shut down just months prior. The whole of the country was trying to open back up while supply chains were shut down. Oil production, because of an agreement entered by Donald Trump with OPEC and OPEC Plus, for 2 years, the world had agreed to reduce oil production by 10 million barrels a day. The U.S. economy had lost a net of 91,000 jobs the 2 months prior to President Biden taking over. Donald Trump's last 2 months, when the economy was just opening up, and we hear it all the time that the jobs that were coming back under Biden were just people going back to work. And the implication is anyone could have done it. Well, if anybody could have done it, why couldn't Donald Trump? But once President Biden took over, we never saw another month of job loss. The country was able to open up and churn. Now, why? Why was he able to do it despite all the obstacles that were working against him? Economists were predicting that the U.S. would enter a recession. Some were even predicting a depression. And yet we avoided that because President Biden grabbed a hold of the wheel and took charge with the CHIPS Act, the Inflation Reduction Act, the Build Back Better Act. He was able to organize and roll out the vaccine so the country could open back up. And yes, there has been pain. As I said, supply chains were shut down. Demand was high, but the supply wasn't there, causing this runaway inflation. And yet, despite that, President Biden was able to get us to where we are now, where we saw Q3 2023, a 5.2% GDP increase. In Q4 2023, a 3.3% GDP increase. Month over month, record job growth. We just saw 353 jobs in January, far outpacing projections. Wage growth outpacing inflation now. That's real money into people's pockets. The economy is booming because of President Biden, and it is time that the Democrats go on the offensive. If they manage to go on the offensive, and they can do it for the election cycle, President Biden can win. President Biden will win. It's not as if he's up against somebody that's overly likable. And yes, there's other issues at hand against President Biden. We can get into those in another video. But when it comes to the economy, this should be a layup for President Biden. This is a slam dunk because right now the economy is booming. Where President Biden has taken it from, what he was handed, 2020, remember, he did not get the 2019 economy. He got the 2020 economy to work with. Where he took it from and where we are now is a masterclass in how to handle the economy and how to handle the challenges of an economy.